Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Crystal Greatsword, and no, it is not a weapon name, Crystal Greatsword. Now for those who don't know what weapon name is, there is a modded version of the Crystal Greatsword. It's a plus 15 version, there's a plus 10 and a plus 5. In-game, this weapon cannot be upgraded, so of course that means you're modding the game and hacking and blah blah blah. Yeah, this is the normal version of the sword, and you know, it's actually not that bad. It does have its uses, I'll give it that. Now, getting started with the weapon, it requires 20 strength and 10 dexterity in order to wield it, and you have a C scaling in both strength and dexterity. It also weighs 8 units, making it one of the heavier of the Greatsword class weapons, and it's also got a fairly short reach for a Greatsword. I believe it is in fact the shortest of the Greatswords. So that's a thing, I guess. Now, with this weapon, it's purchased from Domhnall, I think is how its name is pronounced, of Zena. And when you buy it from him, when you meet him the first time, he is in the depths. Right before you fight the Gaping Dragon, one of the game's, first major bosses, I guess you could say. And a lot of people will struggle with that. They'll find him, though, and they'll see this weapon and realize it probably does better damage than what they're using at that point in time, and they'll buy it. And they'll use it for a while, and they won't notice. Its biggest con, it's got very low durability, and it will, I can guarantee, it will break at the most inopportune moment, because From Software designed it to be like that. I mean, it's only got 60 durability. It's got a base damage of 180, or 190, and that's good for a lot of new players in low levels. And that's really the biggest pro of the weapon. It's good for new players in low levels who find Domhnall and buy this weapon. The downside is it will break on them at the worst time, giving them a nice welcome to Dark Souls moment. Right there earlier in this fight, I don't know what was going on with the shield. Maybe he doesn't have the stats to wield it, or it's broken or something. I've got no clue, but he just couldn't block anything. Sorry, Solaire. I don't even know. But anyway, one thing about using this sword in PvP is you'll see people's reactions in a different way. Right there, I'm fairly certain that this guy is in fact using not protector name, but a weapon name version of the sword, simply due to the fact that later in this video, I partial parry a large club and it did right around that damage. So I'd have to guess that's a plus 10 version of the sword instead of the plus 15 one, because the plus 15 one's, it's got an AR of like 900 something if I'm remembering correctly. So it would make sense that plus 10 is closer to the range that a large club has. But moving on from there. Overall, biggest pro of the weapon, it's available for purchase early on in the game. It'll give newer players and less experienced players an easier way to handle the Gaping Dragon and a few other bosses until it breaks on them, which of course is the biggest the biggest con. Ugh, excuse me. Getting a little bit sick, I think, but I'll manage. Yeah. The availability for new players, biggest pro. The fact that it's going to break so easily is without a doubt the biggest con. Other cons would include the fact that it's the shortest of the Greatsword class weapons. Its damage output, it's not that great. It's low. I mean, for me, my AR is only 350-ish. That's not great. But for a new player, it doesn't really require much stat investment, and it will be good for them to take out the Gaping Dragon and any other bosses, depending on how long it lasts. I mean, of course, some players will die more than others, and it'll take more tries, and their durability will go down a lot lower, a lot faster, but it is what it is. Overall, though, it's a good weapon, and it's fun to use, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if that guy earlier would have pulled out a weapon named Crystal Greatsword had I not been using this Crystal Greatsword. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting right there. I partial parried R2 on the large club, and it did less damage than when I partial parried R1 on Crystal Greatsword. Kind of signals that there's a bit of an issue. But getting distracted. I don't really have anything else to say, to be honest. So just to quickly recap everything, the stats and everything. Not the stats, but yeah, stats. That's what. No more 3 a.m. weapon showcases. I'm sorry. Stats on the weapon: 20 strength and 10 dexterity, double C scaling, 8 weight, base damage of 190. Pros: it's good for early game, good for new players. Cons: it will break at the most inopportune moment, and it will essentially leave you to die. Unless you have another weapon, of course. But since I'm doing a showcase, I didn't have any other weapons. So yeah, we had a bit of an issue right here in this fight. That 83 damage, fantastic. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry for my rambliness, and I will see you next time.